Purity culture is the thing that has done the most damage as Christians. And it's the same kind of thing with this concept of just self-love, flipping it on its head, where if you talk about love, the root of it being truly what is about willing the good of another. And furthermore, I always like to say oriented to God. So then the concept of self-love becomes wanting and willing what's good for you, what's truly good, oriented to God, small g good, pointing to big G good and our Lord, our God. That's what the root of self-love would be. It wouldn't be about chasing down the senses or doing whatever you want. And actually, that's the perfect segue to talk about the flip side of that, which would be rooted in this idea of occultism and thelema. Thelema is a Western occult and esoteric spiritual philosophy and religious movement that originated in the early 20th century. Thelema was developed by Aleister Crowley, an English writer, occultist, and ceremonial musician. Central to thelema is the concept of discovering and following one's true will, a unique purpose that transcends ordinary desires. Crowley's system begins with the Book of the Law. I told you, everything that we believe has been flipped on its head. So in that respect, Crowley believes that following one's true will is what's going to lead you to eventual happiness, fulfilling self-love, and all these things. But that true will is not God's will. That true will is what you want. How do we know? Because that book of the law that he created, well, guess what? That book was dictated to him by a demon whose name I will not invoke in this conversation because we don't want to mull up in here, okay? But he calls this demon his quote-unquote holy guardian angel. And this work, the book of law, it outlines the key principles, including the axiom, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law, emphasizing personal freedom and the pursuit of one's true path, guided by this idea of love in his eyes. Do what thou willst. That is all of the law. So basically, do what you want. Do what you want. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, do what you want. Fulfill your desires. And the crazy thing about this, in juxtaposition to what we believe in Christianity and self-love, is that a lot of what Aleister Crowley taught in Thelema was that you want to lower your inhibitions. You want to release your inhibitions. You want to basically leave them at the door, especially in the sexual sense. So it's like you're having this awakening of fulfilling your own desires. And he does talk about it being transcendent, not just about what you want in a hedonistic way, but about what your true will is, and that true will being rooted in what you want, not anything that has to be guided by God, rooted in God, or even care of the other. Love, in a sense of what he means, is rooted in love for self, not parallel to God, not parallel to others. And that is one of the biggest contrasts that we have in this whole thing with Christianity. It flips this, making the self supreme, making your desires and wants supreme. Does that sound familiar? It sounds exactly what it is in our culture of when we talk about self-love. Because at what point in this idea of self-love do we say that we are focused on God, that we are focused on our relation between ourselves and each other and God? It's relational. See, that's the difference. Love in this sense, in a Christian sense, is relational. And it's not about being a doormat. Of course, being smart, having boundaries, and all those things are important because you don't want to be used and abused by people. But everything that you do is seen through the tint of God, the rosy tint of God, through the lens of our Lord, and what his expectation and will is for us, and how we can look at doing what's good for us through him, through his laws, through his commandments, through how we know we should be living in lives that reflect our Lord Jesus Christ. That's the difference. That is the major difference. And yes, it absolutely does matter.